I'm Brittany Lewis with Forbes Breaking News. Senator Lisa Murkowski spoke to Canadian government officials about cooperation between the U.S. and Canada in the energy sector. At the Senate Energy Committee hearing on Tuesday, the Alaska Republican asked why the Biden administration was looking to Venezuela and Iran to produce oil and not neighbor and close U.S. ally Canada. Democrat Senator Joe Manchin also joined in to express his disappointment in the White House's energy policies. Take a listen to their comments here.
Senator Murkowski.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. Ranking Member Barrasso, thank you for having this hearing. Thank you for inviting our friends and neighbors from Canada. I absolutely concur with Senator Marshall when he says sometimes our solutions are right in our backyard. Look to your neighbors first, and for some strange reason, we have not done that as we have looked to our energy needs with this administration. And Premier Kenney, you said you're having a hard time understanding the Biden administration's approach on this. Know that there are many of us who are also having a hard time understanding where and why the administration has taken the approach that they have. There's a lot of kinship between Alaska and Canada right now. We feel like we have been shunted off to the corner as well, and our opportunity to provide for America's domestic production has been effectively derailed by this administration, whether it's the actions within the NPRA, the recent actions with regards to lease sales in Cook Inlet, or the opportunity that we have within our coastal plain area. So we're also having a hard time understanding the direction from this administration. But I have to ask the question because we saw the response from President Biden after Russia took that first step into Ukraine, and the effort was not to come to Canada as our partner, but to call on Venezuela, to call on Iran for increased production, to turn to OPEC. Is there something different in the product, in the oil itself, in the crude itself, something in Venezuela or Iranian oil that American or Canadian oil doesn't have? Is it cleaner? What would give them that advantage over what we might be able to do here in the United States or in Canada? Is there anything?
Thank you, Senator. I think the best comparator between our oil would be with Venezuela because both are largely heavy oil reservoirs, and we are now at or below the carbon footprint for a barrel of Alberta heavy versus Venezuelan heavy. So there's no environmental advantage. I would add that the Venezuelans, that this is a state-owned enterprise in a kleptocracy with zero transparency and zero real commitment to North American-style energy standards, whereas we are dealing with world-class publicly traded companies that rank in the top decile of ESG performance for energy producers in Canada with incredibly ambitious environmental and emissions targets. So I think we probably end up, in a comparable sense, penalizing ourselves because we are so self-critical, we are so transparent. I don't think we really know what the emissions profile is of energy being produced in Venezuela and Iran is my point.
Well, I would agree, and again, Alaska shares many of those same attributes in terms of how we are able to produce in a way that not only minimizes footprint, but in terms of reduced emissions, methane emissions, we are heads and shoulders above not only other countries but many states as well. But again, it's absolutely incomprehensible why we would not seek those options and avenues that are cleaner, help not only our respective states, but again, this North American Energy Alliance, which to me is just common sense. You have highlighted two things that that the administration has taken that have harmed the ability of Canadian crude to reach our refineries, clearly Keystone, and you also have mentioned this Enbridge Line 5, which I hope the administration is paying heed to your words here. You've talked about optimization. What more can this administration do? We already know what they've done to limit our ability to to have better relationship, better partnerships on this energy alliance. But what could they do today? What could this administration do today to help improve this energy relationship between our two nations?
Well, one would be to join Canada in opposing the governor's effort to decommission Line 5. Secondly, working with midstream companies on accelerating approval for the pipeline optimization projects that are likely coming forward. Third, apply the principle we heard earlier about from Quebec about the application of the Title III of the Defence Production Act to the development of critical minerals in Canada. Why not treat Canadian oil and gas the same way?
Those are good recommendations. Canada is one of the few countries that's considered a domestic source under our Defense Production Act under Title III. So that is something that's an area of opportunity that I think we need to push this administration to look to. Mr. Bradley, nobody has really asked you many questions this morning, but as I was listening to your testimony about this great opportunity for electricity and sharing, I was reminded of the discussion that we had many years ago about this green pipeline that would run from Alaska islanded communities with our hydropower connecting with BC's wind and moving it down to California. It was a pipe dream at the time. People told us we were crazy. Obviously, it hasn't happened, but I think about the great opportunities that we have between our two countries for these shared resources. And Mr. Chairman, I don't think there has been a more important and more timely hearing about what we can be doing right now from an energy security perspective than this cooperation and a true North American energy alliance. So my suggestion would be that we have an opportunity to take this committee to Alberta for a little bit of a field hearing and see for ourselves, because I think we could learn a lot.
Yeah. Senator Murkowski, you and I went to visit. You and I went up to Alaska, and when I left you, I went right down to Alberta and talked to all of our friends there. I was, on a bipartisan way, we were both very embarrassed that our country did not turn to ourselves. Alaska was not asked. Our producers in America were not asked. Our friends in Canada were not asked to step up production, help us. Let's help the rest of the world keep ourselves independent. All we're trying to do is a common sense approach. What West Virginians are asking the same questions that you're asking in Alberta and all over Canada, and the same as you're asking in Alaska. That was the reason I thought it was imperative that we invite our friends down to show the interconnecting that we depend on each other. And we can basically do an awful lot and make North America energy, not only energy independent, but we can help our allies around the world, G7, all of them. We can bring all of our friendly countries in. That's what we're trying to do, and use all the best technologies. You all do some things that we think that are very, very good, and we do some things that we think that we can be helpful, and together we can truly move forward. But I'm happy about this too. And with that, we're going to go to Senator Daines.
All right. Chairman,
Beat you by 5 minutes. I'm so sorry, Senator Hoeven. You made it before 11:30, and I was so proud of you. But Senator Daines beat you. That's a little inside joke here that we have.
He's a neighbor state.
That's okay. You're okay. Okay.
we love